When Honda announced that the Prelude was coming back, a lot of people didn't believe it at first. The Prelude isn't just another Honda from the past, it was a symbol, a car for drivers who loved balance, steering feel, and just enough power to keep things exciting without being reckless. So seeing the name return in 2026 feels like Honda acknowledging something many of us have been saying for years. Cars with soul are still important. The new Prelude doesn't try too hard to look retro. It's not obsessed with nostalgia. Instead, it takes the spirit of the old car, sleek coupe proportions, long hood, low roofline, and reinterprets it in a cleaner, more modern way. The headlights are sharp and slim, the taillights form a simple ribbon across the back, and the overall silhouette is elegant rather than aggressive. It's a car that doesn't shout. It just knows it's good. Where things get interesting is under the hood. Instead of a high-revving VTEC engine like many fans hoped, the 2026 Prelude is a hybrid coupe. Some people are mad about that, but I understand why Honda went in this direction. Hybrid tech allows for efficiency, low emissions, and if tuned correctly, instant torque that can actually improve the driving experience. Yes, it's not a Type R monster, but it's supposed to be a grand touring sports coupe, not a track weapon. If anything, the new Prelude feels like Honda is trying to create a bridge between EV future and gasoline past, between fun and responsibility, between nostalgia and progress. And honestly, I respect that approach. The Prelude's design is one of those that grows on you. At first glance, it's simple, not flashy, not overly sculpted, almost minimalist. But the longer you look, the more intentional it feels. The hood is low and stretches out smoothly toward a grille that's basically just a mouth-shaped opening, clean and almost unnoticeable. Honda has cut back on the bulky, aggressive, styling trends we see everywhere, especially in performance cars today. This is not a car trying to look angry. The roofline is low and flows into a short rear deck, giving the Prelude that classic rear-wheel drive look coupe shape, even though this is almost certainly front-wheel drive with Honda's hybrid system. The wheel arches are subtle but well-defined, and depending on trim, the car comes with wheels that fill the stance nicely without looking oversized. No fake vents, no unnecessary body creases. Finally, a modern car that knows when to stop. From the side view, the proportions feel intentional and balanced. Nothing feels exaggerated. This is a coupe you appreciate in motion, the kind that looks best from a distance, catching light and shadow in a clean, smooth way. It's almost like Honda studied European Grand Tourers and added a Japanese design restraint to keep it grounded. The rear is maybe the nicest angle. A clean, horizontal taillight bar stretches from one edge to the other. No lighting gimmicks, just a simple, strong line. Paired with a subtle spoiler lip and a bumper free from fake outlets, the car feels grown mature even. It's sporty, but in the way that says, I don't need to impress you. I just am what I am. Let's talk about the thing every Prelude fan is divided over, the hybrid powertrain. The 2026 Prelude uses a 2.0L hybrid setup, likely related to the system in the Accord hybrid, with tuning that biases it more toward responsiveness rather than pure economy. That means instant electric torque off the line, smooth transitions, and the kind of quiet cruising ability that makes long drives effortless. If Honda targets around 200-230 horsepower, that would place it exactly where the original Prelude always lived, not overpowering, but balanced. Now, some enthusiasts will call it disappointing. Why not a turbo engine? Why not make it rear-wheel drive? Why not give us a VTEC scream like the old days? I get it. Really, I do. There's a version of this car in our collective imagination that Honda won't build. But here's the honest truth. A lightweight, affordable, hybrid sports coupe in 2026 is rare. Everyone else is either going full EV, full SUV, or chasing absurd horsepower. Honda instead is building something realistic, refined, and usable daily, and that's exactly what the Prelude always was. And honestly, if Honda tunes the steering and chassis, right, which they are famous for, this thing could be more fun in the real world than a car with 450 horsepower that you can't use anywhere. The Prelude has never been about bragging rights, it's been about the drive. Honda's strength has always been chassis tuning, how a car feels as it moves, how the steering communicates, how the suspension balances comfort and response. If the 2026 Prelude succeeds, it will be because Honda gets this part right. The car will likely share elements of the Civic and Accord platform, which may sound boring, but those cars drive exceptionally well for their class. Honda knows how to make a front-wheel drive car feel natural, and engaging the Civic C and Type R are proof. If the Prelude inherits that steering precision and keeps its weight relatively low compared to most modern hybrids, it could be a true driver's coupe. Suspension tuning will matter more than raw power. Body control, response over uneven pavement, how it settles into a corner, this is where Honda has always shined. I don't expect the Prelude to be stiff or track-focused. I think it'll be fluid, a car meant for backroads, late-night drives, coastal highways, the kind of car where you roll the windows down and just enjoy the road. This isn't a numbers car. It's a feel car. And cars like that are getting rare. Sit inside the 2026 Honda Prelude, and the first thing you notice is how calm everything feels. Honda didn't try to turn this into a spaceship like some modern coupes. There's no overload of screens, flashing colors, or gimmicks. Instead, the cabin feels intentionally quiet and focused, almost like a space designed for the driver first and everything else second. The dashboard design is low and clean, with a horizontal layout that emphasizes width and visibility. The digital instrument cluster and infotainment screen are present because they have to be, but they're not the main event. The screens simply provide what you need without shouting for attention. Honda's interface remains simple, easy menus, quick responses, and physical controls where they actually make sense. The fact that Honda still includes real buttons and knobs in key places is a relief in a world where everything is becoming touchscreen only. The seating position is low, which is exactly what you want in a coupe. The steering wheel feels familiar, not overly thick, not full of unnecessary buttons, just right. Visibility is surprisingly decent thanks to thoughtful glass design and slim pillars. Rear seats exist, but let's be honest, they're mostly for small passengers or storage. But that's normal for this type of car, and Honda doesn't pretend otherwise. Materials are better than you might expect. Soft touch surfaces, subtle stitching, and light accent trim that avoids trying too hard. No fake carbon fiber. No faux racing aesthetic. Just a mature, refined environment that suits the personality of the car. It's not a luxury interior, and it's not trying to be. It's a driver's space, clean, ergonomic, uncluttered, the kind that makes you want to take the long way home. Where many automakers today overwhelm the driver with endless tech features, Honda seems to have intentionally simplified the Prelude's technology experience. Yes, it has the latest connectivity, wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Bluetooth, voice controls the expected list of modern convenience. But nothing here feels like tech for the sake of tech. The central infotainment system is clear and fast, with a UI that's familiar to anyone who's driven a recent Honda. The climate controls remain physical, a blessing that cannot be overstated. The gauge cluster is digital, but it doesn't try to animate like a video game intro. It simply gives you information cleanly and responsively. Where the Prelude does step into the future is in its hybrid efficiency management and adaptive driving systems. Honda's latest Sensing 3.0 suite is standard. Adaptive cruise, lane keeping assist, blind spot monitoring, traffic jam assist the usual. But again, the tuning is the difference. Honda focuses on smoothness rather than aggressive correction. On long drives, the system supports you without nagging or intruding. The audio system is expected to be one of the highlights. Honda has been pushing high-end sound tuning in its recent models, and the Prelude seems like the perfect car to go all in on sound atmosphere. not loud, just rich. One thing missing and honestly refreshing is the lack of unnecessary performance modes. Maybe there will be a sport mode, but don't expect fake exhaust noise or gimmick settings. Honda seems to trust that the car's natural dynamics are good enough on their own. Technology used intelligently, not excessively, and that's something most modern coupes have forgotten. Here's the truth. The 2026 Honda Prelude is not trying to compete with turbocharged muscle coupes or track monsters. It's not here to dethrone a Supra, Mustang, or GR86. It's not chasing numbers or YouTube drag race headlines. It's playing a different game, the same game the original Prelude played. This is a coupe for people who love driving, not racing. For people who want a car that looks good without screaming for attention. For people who enjoy a winding road more than a spec sheet comparison battle. In a market where SUVs dominate, where EVs are taking over, and where manual transmissions are dying, the simple fact that Honda is building a coupe at all feels almost rebellious. Yes, some enthusiasts will be disappointed that it's a hybrid and likely front-wheel drive, but those same people may be surprised once they actually drive it. Because if Honda nails the steering, the handling, the ride balance, the connection, this could be one of the last truly modern analog-feeling cars in a world going fully digital. The new Prelude may not be the return of the 1990s, but it might be the return of something even more important. A car that makes you want to drive.
And honestly, we need that more than ever.